Next on the Fox 44 News at 9, the national leader of the Ku Klux Klan has disavowed any connection with tomorrow's planned Klan march in Central City, Kentucky. Angela Gariak has a full report. U.S. troops prepare for possible action in the African country of Somalia, even as tensions erupt into civil war in the South American Republic of Venezuela. And in segment 3, the Christmas shopping season is officially underway. Good evening, I'm Tim Black. Traditionally, it is the biggest shopping day of the year. Shoppers were up before dawn today, waiting for local discount stores to open. Economic signs are pointing up, and retailers are hoping for a green Christmas, perhaps the best since 1988. Christmas spending may average $400 per household this Christmas, up $23 from last year. More on the Christmas season kickoff in tonight's segment 3. A damaged boat and a piece of driftwood conspired this morning to give local rescue officials a scare. Rescue workers from Evansville and Henderson searched the Ohio River earlier today in fear that someone might have fallen into the river from a capsized boat. However, rescuers have decided high water may have washed the boat away from its moorings, and what crews thought was a body was simply a piece of driftwood. An Evansville man is in jail tonight accused of arson. 32-year-old John Wesley Noel allegedly set fire to a home on Oregon Avenue yesterday after a woman there refused to have sex with him. The woman apparently extinguished the fire before Noel allegedly started another. Noel said he remembered being in the woman's bedroom and a fire starting, but said the fire extensively damaged the home. Ku Klux Klan members will hit the streets in Central City, Kentucky tomorrow for a holiday parade and protest rally all in one. However, one of the KKK's leading organizations is questioning the Bowling Green group. Fox 44's Angela Gariak has the story.
People is going to see the most unusual parade, march that they've ever seen from the Ku Klux Klan.
Chris Connor says tomorrow's Ku Klux Klan parade in Central City will be something you won't want to miss. He's promising to show proof of injustice on behalf of town officials. However, the Grand Wizard of the National Knights of the KKK warns residents not to get their hopes up. He says Connor is a self-proclaimed Klansman and is unlikely to have as much support or power as he claims.
He's using our name. You know, we are a national organization, the same group that David Duke used to be the national director of, based out of Harrison, Arkansas. If somebody else is using our name, they're doing it incorrectly.
The National Knights of the KKK is one of the largest Klan groups in the country. Rob says the promises Connor has made would even be difficult for the National Knights to carry through with. For example, Connor says his Klan group will sue Central City officials for keeping them out of the town's 53rd annual Christmas parade.
If he'd have simply let us participate in a parade, we'd have went through the parade, handed out the toys and stuff to the kids and the clothing. That'd been all of it. We never would have been probably back in that city again. The only reason we come to that city was because we received letters.
Rob says although the Klan fights for their First Amendment rights, it's unlikely Connor's group will pursue a lawsuit against Central City.
I would not do that because I know that the Christmas parades are usually put on or are put on by the local businesses, not put on by the people per se, but by the businesses. And, you know, it would be very easy for them to decide to cancel their participation, which would in effect cancel the parade. You know, we're not interested in canceling these parades.
Rob's Knights claim they are a new version of the Klan and says Connor's radical ways may give people the wrong impression.
We're not interested in hating anyone. We're not interested in black people or hating Mexicans or hating anyone. But we are concerned that people will love their heritage and love their children and want to preserve those things.
Some Central City residents may be curious about what Connor has to say. However, most residents say any message from any Klan organization is not welcomed in their town. Angela Gariak, Fox 44 News at 9.
About 100 jobs will be lost in Rockport, Indiana when Barmet Aluminum Corporation closes its 18-year-old recycling plant at the end of January. The Spencer County operation is closing because it can't compete with more modern operations. Plant manager Ken Jacoby said employees had been expecting the announcement. The company has known for over a year that the plant was in jeopardy. Somalia's most powerful warlord says he is enthusiastic U.S. troops may soon roll into that African nation. As many as 30,000 American troops may be sent to the famine-ravaged country to help in a United Nations relief effort. Gary Stryker reports.
Mohammed Aidid said he welcomed what he called the U.S. initiative. At the same time, he condemned United Nations operations in Somalia as a dismal failure. He accused what he described as faceless UN bureaucrats of charting their own course of action without regard to Somalia's needs. He said an alternative plan was needed to salvage Somalia, and that he believes the U.S. initiative can do it. Aidid is the most powerful faction leader here, but he said he had not been consulted or even advised of the U.S. plan before it was announced. When reporters asked him how he could welcome any form of military intervention here, he said he was certain the U.S. proposal was intended to help Somalia and that it would be carried out in what he called the right way. He said he expected U.S. authorities to contact him for talks. Aidid avoided giving direct answers to questions about what he would do if coalition forces are deployed without his consent, saying only he was sure everything would be worked out in eventual discussions. Aidid's positive statements took many people here by surprise. It was expected he would react angrily against any form of military intervention. Instead, he talked almost as if the U.S. plan has no military element whatsoever. But observers here are still dubious about Aidid's intentions, and they worry about what he might do if he decides the military coalition will operate against his interests. Gary Stryker, CNN, Mogadishu.
Meanwhile, continents away, the Venezuelan government has apparently survived a second coup attempt this year, although sporadic fighting continues tonight. Officials say government troops have regained control of all military bases except one. Fighting broke out around dawn after rebels took over a major television station. The rebel leaders in a videotaped message told Venezuelans to support the overthrow and to take to the streets. Venezuelan President Carlos Andre Perez was not hurt during the bombing. He was in another building in the complex. Explosions of a different type in Milwaukee today when a tanker truck plunged through a freeway guardrail and then took a 40-foot dive into a parking lot below. The tanker carried several thousand gallons of gasoline which burst into flames, setting off loud booms. The truck's driver was killed. Several vehicles in the parking lot were damaged, but no one else was injured. Officials think the driver may have been driving too fast around the ramp. Still ahead on the Fox 44 News at 9 in segment 3, Jill Carlson will report on that traditional holiday ordeal, Christmas shopping. But first, a drug bust off the U.S. coast. It got all wet.
Hi, I'm Lou Robichaud. At my hair replacement clinic, I help men, women, and children feel better about themselves due to hair loss. But there is another important aspect of my business I'd like to tell you about. With it, I can help women who have had breast surgery feel better about themselves. My Natural You Clinic offers a truly innovative breast form that's a dramatic advancement in the post-mastectomy products. It's called the Amona Affinity. It's external, so it's completely safe, and it allows a woman worry-free security. The Amona Affinity form can be secured to your own body for a special freedom and confidence. It's applied easily with special adhesive strips and wears firmly and comfortably for up to a week. From sweaters to lingerie, it holds securely and moves naturally. I also offer an attractive line of swimwear with forms already sewn in. Call me at the Natural You Clinic, and I'll be glad to give you more information on the Amona Affinity.
You're watching Fox 44 News at 9, the Tri-State's only primetime news.
Do your kitchen right with the help of Kite Home Center. Take accurate measurements, then let the experts at Kite computer design the kitchen of your dreams. Kite's professional staff will help you choose the right custom cabinets, find the perfect appliances, and transform your kitchen into the most popular room in your home. Whether you choose to do it yourself or work with a professional, Kite's experts assist you every step of the way. Kite does kitchens right. Kite Home Center, Evansville, Newburgh, and Rockport, helping build the Tri-State since 1957.
Access to information builds our economy. The more you know, the more you grow, and knowledge is the key.
Ameritech is applying telecommunications in exciting new ways to strengthen our economy and productivity for a brighter future.
Ameritech, your link to a better life.
Jody joins me now as we debate whether or not it's actually snowing outside.
Well, it's kind of a melted. We're right on the freezing line right now, 32 degrees outside. The airport is reporting some flurries, so maybe they're at like 31. But anyway, it looks like we're going to see a few flurries tonight into tomorrow morning. And finally, we're looking for some clearing skies into late tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, we'll check with you a little later.
Okay.
A dramatic incident off the east coast of the United States today. Leslie McKinnon reports that U.S. and Canadian drug investigators have rescued the crew of what may have been a drug smuggling vessel.
The 8 crew members from the mystery fishing ship had just spent 4 days confined to the laundry room of a U.S. Coast Guard cutter.
Let them through.
Whatever the men were hiding, if anything, will never be known, because all possible evidence sank with their fishing boat.
Are you from Canada?
One of the rescued men is Daniel Lemaire of Montreal.
Can you tell me what happened to your boat?
The other 7 are Spanish.
Were there drugs on board?
Shit. No way. We're fishermen.
You're a fisherman?
Sure. Yeah.
But the U.S. Coast Guard doesn't believe a word of it.
Fishing vessel Luciana, this is the United States Coast Guard. Stop your vessel.
It released a video which shows that attempts to contact the fishing boat called the Luciana with radio, lights, and a loudhailer and flags were never answered. Crew member Adolfo Munez and Captain Antonio Rodriguez say their electrical system had failed. Besides, they feared they were in an illegal fishing zone. Why wouldn't you stop?
Because we think it's illegal water.
The chase went on for 19 hours. Then, early on Sunday morning, the Luciana suddenly stopped. There seemed to be trouble. A small raft was thrown overboard. And then something extraordinary happened. The Luciana, without warning, began going down fast. The Coast Guard had to make a daring and dangerous rescue. Their launch was literally on top of the rapidly sinking boat. And they have no doubt about what happened.
While we were pursuing them that evening, they had plenty of time to devise a plan to scuttle the vessel. And I think they opened up all the compartments, and then in the morning when the weather abated and it was daylight, they opened up some intake valves and some sea strainers, and water rushed into the engine room and propagated, and the vessel quickly sank.
RCMP Sergeant Terry Scott says the boat would be a pittance to serious drug smugglers.
If it were carrying narcotics, the cost of a boat would be just minimal towards possible profit.
None of the men can be charged with anything. U.S. Immigration says the men now have shipwrecked sailor status and must leave the United States as soon as possible. Leslie McKinnon for CBC News in Newcastle, New Hampshire.
Some California residents in the mountain resort community of Big Bear Lake had the shakes this morning. An earthquake in the area measured 5.4 on the Richter scale. Scientists say the quake is an aftershock from the twin quakes which shook the Big Bear region back in June. No injuries have been reported and damage was minimal. The quake was centered about 75 miles east of Los Angeles.
When you get one large earthquake, you often get many smaller ones afterwards. And that's because when the fault breaks, it leaves a lot of little unbroken patches or builds up stress all over the area. So you get a lot of these little pops following the main shock, and those are the smaller aftershocks that happen.
A shocking testimonial tonight by a group of Korean women. They say they were robbed of their youth and repeatedly raped during World War II. Now, 50 years later, they're launching a worldwide publicity drive as part of their attempt to seek justice. Fox's Jan Smith reports.
Many Koreans around the world are just now learning the shocking details of how thousands of young Korean girls were forced to become sex slaves for Japanese soldiers during World War II. This woman was silent for decades because of her shame about how she was abused as a so-called comfort woman. She is speaking out now for justice. When she was a 19-year-old virgin, Wang Kum-ju had signed up to work in a Japanese weapons factory, but instead was ordered to have sex with hundreds of Japanese officers, dozens a day.
On weekends like Saturdays and Sundays, I would have to entertain about 50, 40 people. And then on weekdays, sometimes it would be 30, 20.
Once, when she refused to perform sexual acts, she was tortured.
He snatched my hair. he hit me like a brute, and then he threw me on the floor. So I fainted.
In one of the most hidden outrages of World War II, about 200,000 young Korean women were treated like this. The young women were regularly injected with antibiotics as treatments for venereal diseases. Many died, and survivors still suffer from physical and emotional scars. Wang Kum-ju never married.
More than compensation, what I want is straightforward, honest apology from Japan.
Though the government has offered some compensation, there is an increasing call for the Japanese to accept full responsibility. Outside the Japanese embassy in Washington, Jan Smith, Fox News.
If current indicators are true, President-elect Bill Clinton is making a deliberate effort to involve Congress in his administration. Observers say Clinton may be trying to avoid some of the mistakes made by former Democratic President Jimmy Carter. Fox's Niles Latham reports.
He's a Southern governor who ran as an outsider and promises to bring a more down-home style to the presidency. But Bill Clinton is determined to make sure that the comparisons to the last outsider down-home Southern Democratic president, Jimmy Carter, stop right there. In fact, Clinton's movements, statements, and actions during his transition are calculated to demonstrate that he's not going to be another Jimmy Carter.
Clinton is going to be a new kind of Democrat. He's a new kind of president.
While Carter shunned members of Congress in the Washington establishment, Clinton is courting them, listening to their advice and promising to make them partners in his change agenda.
I seem to feel that Bill Clinton comes to town with very different ways of governing. It seems to me already we've seen a sort of a reaching out where Carter and his people seemed to draw the wagons around them almost instantly, and so there became quickly something called the Georgia Mafia. Well, it's quite amazing, but we're not hearing anything about the Arkansas Mafia. I think that's a very basic difference.
In fact, the recent talk of a first 100 days program, the heavy use of visual images, and the high-profile meetings with leading economic experts are very similar techniques to Ronald Reagan's during his transition. And like Clinton, Reagan used the transition to reassure voters that they'd made the right choice and to set in motion big changes in social and economic policy.
Tomorrow, Clinton pays a courtesy call on the former president in Los Angeles. And the irony of borrowing from Ronald Reagan's playbook to dismantle many of his policies is not lost on Clinton or its advisors. Niles Latham, Fox News, Washington.
President-elect Clinton made some other non-Carter-like moves today, like looking for some advice from former President Ronald Reagan, as well as hitting the shopping mall in a big way. Clinton joined the crush of day-after-Thanksgiving Christmas shoppers at a suburban Californian mall. It's the type of glad-handing, meet-the-people event that has become Clinton's trademark. Tens of thousands of people packed the mall to get a glimpse of the soon-to-be president. On the opposite coast and in an opposite atmosphere, President Bush was working on his golf game in the peace and quiet of Kennebunkport. The president and Mrs. Bush hit the links again this morning at their main retreat. The president did not make any formal comments concerning the offer of U.S. troops to Somalia. Reporters and photographers were not allowed on the golf course, able to watch only from a distant road. The White House says the Bushes want their privacy. Still ahead on the Fox 44 News at 9, changing your looks without cosmetic surgery in tonight's Health and Lifestyles report. And next, in segment 3, Evansville shoppers hit the stores as the Christmas shopping season gets underway.
Get ready. The sale you've been saving for all year is here. The Venture 2-day after Thanksgiving sale. 2 days of savings throughout the store. Friday and Saturday, save 20% on our entire stock of Barbie by Mattel. And Lego and Duplo toys, 20% off. And name brand appliances, your choice, just $8.88 each. This Friday and Saturday, the Venture 2-day after Thanksgiving sale. The prices are great, and so are the savings.
Looking for a top-of-the-line pool table for your home or business? Louis Billiards and Darts in Henderson now carries professional billiard tables by Gandy. Gorgeous Gandy pool tables in many different wood styles and colors are sure to complement any decor for a lifetime. Louis pool cues by Mucci and McDermott. American-made superior quality cues for people who prefer perfection.
55% on famous brands every day. China Closet, Old Orchard Shopping Center, Highway 41 North in Henderson, Kentucky.
Kurt's in now with a look at what's coming up in sports. We've moved, I guess, from high school football into college basketball.
Sort of graduated here to another sport. And we've got USI, their very first game, so this is the big debut for Bruce Pearl. We check in on Indiana playing the NIT finals. Plenty more, so stay here.
All right, we'll see you a little later. Today, of course, is traditionally the busiest shopping day of the year. Retailers hope it's the start of the best Christmas sales season in the last 4 years. Fox 44's Joel Carlson reports on whether or not local consumers are buying into a brighter economic forecast.
Retailers certainly hope to hear that lovely sound over and over again this Christmas shopping season. Most expect this to be their best Christmas sales season in the last 4 years. There is even good economic news to boost store owners' expectations. The Commerce Department today says personal income shot up 1% last month and spending rose 0.7%. National economists say that should translate into a very strong shopping season. The people we spoke with here today at Washington Square Mall seem to agree with those economic forecasters. Most say they'll be spending at least the same as they did last year. Some will spend even more.
I think that people are getting out and they're wanting to shop more and to get the economy's getting better, I think, as far as for retailers.
I'll be spending more.
Will you?
Yes.
Do you think the economy's starting to turn around finally?
Yes, I do. I don't think it's been all that poured down, really.
I know I spent a lot more than last year. Yeah. Had more money this year, that's why.
Probably about the same, really. Yeah, about the same. Our kids are getting older, so they get less, but about the same amount of money.
I probably had about the same last year, but I got a boyfriend this year, so...
That'll do it, won't it?
Yeah.
There are still 27 shopping days left until we know just how good sales will be this Christmas season. But if today is any indication, it should be a merry holiday for retailers. Jill Carlson, Fox 44 News at 9.
Evansville shoppers aren't the only people braving the stores this weekend. All across the nation, as those cash registers ring or beep, as the case may be, store owners are hoping for big-time buying.
This holiday shopping season could finally break the recessionary chokehold on the nation's economy, and retailers are ready.
I think there's still some caution, but we're much more optimistic than we were.
But in North Texas, emerging from the economic doldrums is far from in the bag. One survey predicts holiday shoppers will spend about the same as last year. In Chicago, retailers hope to spur this weekend with sales, television ads, coupons, and special promotions such as Christmas tree giveaways.
It's good because there's sales on, which is amazing, during the holiday seasons.
Just as retailers are mixing caution with optimism, so are Chicago consumers.
I'm really careful about how my money is going this year. I think things are going to get better, so I think I can splurge a little bit more this year than I did last year.
But there are no great holiday expectations in Southern California. One survey shows retailers there are the least optimistic in the nation. High unemployment has been eroding consumer confidence. In hurricane-stricken South Florida, thousands of people are spending their insurance dollars and boosting holiday purchases. Department stores report sales are up 20%. And at New York's FAO Schwartz, sales are brisk, with an emphasis on more traditional toys.
Retailers are hoping they'll see more traditional buying habits from consumers this holiday season. That is, spending more freely. The good news is they'll have 2 more shopping days this holiday season than they had last year. Brian Cabell, CNN, Atlanta.
And Jody Salin joins us now. So did you get out to the malls today?
Oh, no. I would be scared to go out there. Here it's very busy. A lot of people, most places were closed. A lot of people doing shopping. And to make some bad news worse, I guess, we have 27 days left of shopping until Christmas. So if you haven't started like myself, you better get on the ball.
Or haven't started counting them up like you had. I had no idea.
Oh, really? Well, I keep a count, close count, because I have a lot of shopping. It looks like tomorrow could be a good shopping day. We're going to look for another cloudy day. Things will start to break up late in the afternoon, but we have a cool day in store for tomorrow. We still have lots of flurries in the air, and basically, tomorrow's looking like a good day for shopping. Sunday, a better day to get outdoors.
All right. Stick around. Jody's in next with your forecast and a holiday guide to buying a Christmas tree.
It's that time of year again when people all across the country buy Christmas trees. In tonight's environmental report, we tell you how to find a healthy tree and keep it looking good once it gets inside.
Christmas just wouldn't be Christmas without a tree. But how to choose one? There are different trees for different tastes. But regardless of the shape or size, there is one thing a tree should be: moist. Scientists at Washington State University have found that some cut trees in the lot can be so dry they'll never make it through the holiday season.
When people are buying trees at retail outlets, that tree has been cut. It's been stored usually at a shipping facility. It's been transported to the area where the tree is being sold. And so it's been a number of days or maybe weeks from the time of cutting until that tree is being selected.
Gary Chastagner and his colleagues have measured just how dry a cut tree can get and still bounce back when placed in water. The scientific term for this point is the moisture threshold level. Research over the years has shown that cut trees which have dried past their original moisture threshold level cannot be kept healthy. The problem for consumers is that a dry tree often looks just like a healthy moist tree. So without a special pressure chamber, how can you tell if a tree is too dry? Chastagner has a simple test that can be done on the spot by a tree.
Put these needles between your fingers and bend them like this. Those snap just like a fresh carrot stick. In fact, you can actually hear them when they're nice and fresh, just like this tree is. As the tree begins to dry, these needles become more rubbery. They don't snap. They'll actually just bend there, and if you were to try and put them between your fingers, they'll form little loops, but they do not break.
Chastagner says this technique works for almost all fir-type tree species, but does not work on the popular Scotch pine because of its different needles. Chastagner says some freshly harvested trees can make it to market with enough moisture to last 5 or 6 weeks indoors, if they get enough water. So be careful in your selection, because you can take the tree out of nature, but you can't take the nature out of the tree. Miles O'Brien, CNN, reported.
And the only thing that story was missing, I guess, was a little bit of snow. And we have some snow flurries out there at the airport. We're basically bordering on the freezing mark, 32 degrees, but you factor in the north winds at 8 miles per hour. It feels like 22 degrees out there. Very chilly. You want to bundle up if you're heading out tonight. Trace of precipitation picked up, just light flurries throughout the area earlier. 37 degrees, our official high this afternoon. Across the big radar picture, not a whole lot to talk about. We have some flurries across the Rocky Mountain states, and then we've got some flurries in our region as well. Now, the light flurries that we have here at the airport are so light, they're not even being picked up on the radar picture. But if you're heading east of the tri-state region over around Louisville, Lexington, some roads could be slick at times. They had about an inch of accumulation in some areas around the north-central part of Kentucky. So if you're going to travel there late tonight, even tomorrow morning, you could run into some slick roads, especially the overpasses, so you want to be very careful if you're traveling in that region. Other than that, just light flurries falling across much of the tri-state today. But of course, for about the 6th or 7th day in a row, we're dealing with lots of low clouds hanging throughout the area. We thought possibly they would clear out tomorrow. Early tomorrow, it looks like we're going to have to wait until about midday before things start to break up. Now, the white that you see on the satellite picture right here, this is where the snow is falling. But we notice if you get into parts of Illinois around Chicago, they saw their first sunshine today since about October 28th, so they've had a lot of gloominess around that area as well. But if you travel just a little bit farther north and west, you can run into some clear skies. Hopefully, this will start to push to the east, and we will it'll bring us some clear skies by late tomorrow afternoon. The big picture shows really what's going on, just some light snow flurry activity due to a upper-level disturbance that we have over the region, kept the clouds across the area. Still some heavy rains hugging tight to the panhandle of Florida, also up along the coast in North Carolina. They picked up a couple inches of rain in some locations. And then we're dealing with yet another system coming down from the northwest that it looks like as this front passes, probably Monday night into Tuesday, it's going to pass through, could bring us a few clouds, maybe a sprinkle or so, but it really isn't working with a whole lot of moisture as it moves through the region. So we're going to be talking about basically nice days starting on Sunday afternoon, if you can wait that long for the sun to come back out. And highs tomorrow are going to reflect all the clouds around still. We're only going to make it into the 40s, but it really doesn't matter where you're going to travel in the United States from one coast to the other, because if you're in our area, you're going to be talking about 40s. If you head south down into Mississippi, Alabama, they're going to have 40s as well. We had record lows once again set today in Texas. So chilly conditions basically all across the nation right now. But Sunday, as the sun comes out, so does the temperatures as far as going up. We start to see an increase in temperatures. We'll be into the 50s by Sunday afternoon. It's going to feel a little bit nicer. Now, travel forecast tomorrow morning, Pittsburgh, looking at a few snow flurries around the area. Miami, we're talking about some rain, and then just some thick clouds still around Indianapolis over into New York City, but clearing skies behind this frontal system, making its way into the tri-state by later tomorrow afternoon. 26, some flurries around for us tonight, 40 degrees tomorrow. Flurries early in the morning, then the sun comes out late in the afternoon. Then we start to clear out tomorrow night, 26 on the overnight low tomorrow, and then we warm into the 40s, or I guess we stay in the 40s for Sunday, but the sun comes out, and then 50 degrees by Monday. The second front comes through, cools us off a few degrees back into the 40s, but overall, not a bad forecast. I think I'll be pleased to see the sun come back out late tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. We might mention the Shrine Circus. It's going to be going on for the rest of the weekend. I have my souvenir whistle.
Yes.
I was fortunate enough to be allowed to be a guest ringmaster out there earlier today. Had a lot of fun this morning. I saw some of the acts, and you blow this to start the circus.
All right, so you were out there. You didn't have to worry about the weather because you were inside early this morning.
Very interesting circus. And if you're interested in going out there at Roberts Stadium, it's going to be continuing tomorrow and Sunday. You can catch a show there at 9:30, 2, and 7 tomorrow, as well as 2 and 7 again on Sunday.
Good.
And you say the weather's going to be nice.
Yep, a little bit cloudy tomorrow, but nice on Sunday.
All right, thanks, Jody. And still ahead on the Fox 44 News at 9, Kurt Dusterberg will have the latest in sports. But first, ripping you off in your time of need.
Thinking about buying a piano or organ? Wait until Orlick Brothers Music's grand opening. Special price holiday hotline to order delicious deli trays, gift certificates, or fruit baskets. Happy holidays from the friendly hometown people at Wesselman's.
A post-Thanksgiving Day rally on Wall Street during an abbreviated session today. The Dow rose almost 16 points, closing at 3282. Trading was light since the market closed 2 hours early because of the holiday, with just over 106 million shares changing hands. The most recent economic indicators say we are more ready to spend money than we ever have been before, and while holiday shoppers are optimistic, retailers are remaining cautiously so. John Rowland explains in tonight's Fox Business News.
All across the country, consumers are putting down their carving knives and reaching for their credit cards. Christmas shopping season has arrived. At the Newport Center Mall in Jersey City, New Jersey, registers were ringing, the stores were busy, and everywhere you turned, people's hands were filled with shopping bags. For the first time in almost 5 years, shoppers sounded optimistic.
I think there's a lot of optimism now. Things seem to be going pretty well. There is a new president, and perhaps we should all be doing better.
I'm looking forward to a better year for the economy, for working conditions, for shopping, the taxes, and everything else.
Analysts and store owners alike say sales this Christmas should be about 6% better than last year. Consumer confidence is up. Personal income keeps climbing, up 0.5% last month, and the unemployment rate is falling.
We're feeling very strong that it's going to be probably the best holiday we've had in 3 years. Definitely double-digit sales gains next 30 days.
We're keeping our fingers crossed. As we say, we're cautiously optimistic that we'll have a good Christmas.
And there's reason for retailers to be cautious. Consumers aren't going on wild spending sprees this year. In fact, surveys show people are only going to spend about $23 more on gifts this Christmas than they did last year.
I'm not overspending. I'm still cautious.
The way the economy is, I'm definitely looking for sales.
So whatever is on sale, I buy it.
But some people simply aren't upbeat this year. They're struggling, and they want President-elect Clinton to do something about it.
Just make the economy better than it is, because right now it's not doing so well. And a lot of people are unemployed. Look, I just lost my job 2 weeks ago. It's a nice present for the holidays.
I'm Bob O'Brien with the Fox Business News.
Fraudulent practices in the funeral home business. Texas authorities think it's a problem, and they're beginning to crack down. Fox's Joycelyn Lane reports.
Nothing should be treated with more dignity and respect than the remains of a loved one who's died. And yet, there are horror stories.
Just drop the body off. Okay, you ain't got the money. Here's your dead man's body. It's like 4 days older. Let's just leave him here on the doorstep.
Most of us have heard about the most shocking case just last month in Richmond. A funeral home dumped the nude man on his son's doorstep after a payment dispute.
There are people in the funeral home business who say that that was not very ethical.
They run their establishments as they see fit. I run mine the way I see fit.
According to state records going back 3 years, the Houston funeral home worker with the most complaints filed against him in the mortuaries where he worked is this man, Jim Lerwig.
I hate him. I hate him. That's the way I feel. And I think he ought to be, put away. I really do.
Judy Ferguson is suing Lerwig, alleging he mishandled her husband's funeral. She says he lied to her, posing as a licensed.
As far as presenting myself as a licensed funeral director to her, that never took place.
This attorney represents a North Carolina woman who claims Lerwig pocketed $1,500 owed her. She finally got her refund, but only after threatening legal action.
The emotional harm he did to my clients was extreme. And my clients, while we received the money, do not feel that Mr. Lerwig has been properly dealt with.
Lerwig says he still owes money to only 3 clients, and he's planning to pay them back. He claims his problems are simply the result of bad business decisions that caused him to go into debt. The State Funeral Commission did not have the authority to penalize Lerwig because he's not a licensed funeral director. But he is a funeral director's apprentice, and based on the stack of complaints, attorneys for the state are now working to get his apprenticeship revoked. In Houston, Jocelyn Lane, Fox News.
Still ahead on the Fox 44 News at 9, Kurt Dusterberg has the latest in sports, but first, new alternatives to those controversial breast implants.
The Health and Lifestyles Report is presented tonight by St. Mary's Medical Center. When you need some special care, we'll be there.
First, warnings surrounded silicone breast implants. Enter saline. Now warnings against it as well. Yet if you still want the look of an implant, Rhonda Rowland reports it is possible without silicone or saline.
The fashion model, for many women reflecting the perfect female body image. Models also feel pressure to be perfect. Laura Putnam thought surgical breast implants might be the answer.
In the last few years, I've really considered it and have been scared to do it. And just keep waiting, hoping that someday something will happen.
Laura says she's found the solution in a figure enhancer called Body Sculptor.
This is for any woman who'd like to make herself one size larger.
Developed by a retired homemaker and her 4 daughters, the device is filled with silicone gel and worn inside the bra.
I was never blessed. I also talked to many women who either lost their breast area during, after they nursed children, weight loss. I found that women needed the product. It wasn't there.
Good morning. Good to see you. Good to see you, Martha. 30 years ago, Martha Knighton lost a breast to cancer, and like most women in her position, chose not to have reconstructive surgery. But at the time, she could not find a prosthesis.
Now, the affinity that you have been wearing is, I just think, a wonderful miracle in the business of prosthesis.
Worldwide, Amona sells more breast forms than any other company. Now it offers a prosthesis that can adhere to the chest with surgical adhesive and be worn with any lingerie.
With this, I have an option so that I don't feel like I must have reconstructive surgery to look the way I should.
The fitters at Precious Things are also seeing more women who want to enhance their bust lines.
With the problems that they've had with the silicone implants, we are fitting more of this type of bra.
Bust line enhancing garments are even well stocked in department stores.
We all want to look terrific, and I think these undergarments are really a step in that direction.
As research continues on the safety of surgical breast implants, it's likely stores like these will see more women looking for other options. Rhonda Rowland, CNN Medical News.
Americans are touting their teeth these days. Ad campaigns are everywhere. Mouthwashes, wrenches, toothpaste, and toothbrushes. The search for the perfect toothbrush in tonight's Fox Style News.
If you're like most Americans, you're putting your money where your mouth is. There's a rush on the toothbrush.
Do I got a toothpaste? Brush, knock out BK germs fast. fast. Fast
Yes, but what to brush with?
I reached neon green. Got that little angle. Works perfect.
Dog sleep.
What is this? I can't think of the name. Hold on. It's a Dr.
No matter which brand you sink your teeth into, you're contributing to the surprising increase in toothbrush sales. After just keeping pace with population growth, they've brushed up 30%. Why? Take it from someone who sells them.
Just a marketing ploy. It's obviously, it is working.
Figure all the commercial hype about the Reach toothbrush, dentist, 4 out of 5 survey. Makes you want to buy it, no?
Companies who don't want to see the industry decay have come out with dozens of new and improved brushes. For example, the glow-in-the-dark Reach, Press Complete, Reach Between, and the indicator brush, which tells you when to buy a new one, and the professional brush, presumably for people who brush their teeth for a living. You can spend lots of green to get your teeth white. But 1 out of 1 dentist we surveyed said,
They might buy a $10 brush because it looks good in your bathroom. But really, a $10 brush is as good as a $1.50 brush if it's used correctly.
What do you use?
Colgate Plus, if you must know. Amy Atkins, Fox Style News.
Kurt Dusterberg in now. Lots of basketball tonight.
Yeah, we've got basketball like crazy, including the debut of USI under Bruce Pearl. Should be a great season. They've got it off on the right foot.
All right, Kurt's in next with all your sports. Stay with us.
You're watching Fox 44 News at 9, the area's most complete news program.
Hi, Bob Buck here. The Aces could be among the best in basketball this year, and will be gunning for another MCC crown, but that could be just the beginning. Coach Jim Cruz has his 10 top players returning, including Paris Casebeer, Scott Schreffler, and Sasha Hoopman. Keep up with the Aces. Join me for University of Evansville basketball with Jim Cruz, presented by Citizens Bank, leading the way, and by Kenny Kent, Toyota, Mitsubishi, Lexus, and Kenny Kent Northside. Sundays at 10 p.m., exclusively here on Fox 44 WEVV-TV.
I stopped here because I heard the chicken was good.
People are talking about Hardee's fresh fried chicken.
It's moist. It's delicious.
I tell you, it tastes great. It really does.
I like Hardee's chicken better than Kentucky Fried Chicken. The taste is a lot better.
The fried chicken people prefer over KFC original recipe, 63 to 37.
I think it's a very good piece of chicken.
So come by Hardee's now and get 8 pieces of our new fried chicken with 4 free biscuits, just $5.99.
It's quick, it's easy, and I'm out of here.
Welcome back. Bobby Knight and the boys from Bloomington are going to be a well-oiled machine by the time the Big Ten wars get underway. The Hoosiers have already racked up wins against 2 opponents that are in the top 25, Tulane and Florida State. Tonight, a win over number 6, Seton Hall, would add some hardware to the trophy case because this was for the NIT championship game. Go figure. Bobby Knight getting a little emotional early. You can pretty much count on that, can't you? How about our man Calvert? How many times have we called this guy's number during the tournament? Number 40 hits from outside. That is a 3-pointer, and the Hoosiers look good early. Watch this. He just leaps over Seton Hall on the inbounds pass. He gets the roll and the foul. Seton Hall saying, hey, what do we got to do to stop this guy? Well, they found a way to beat the defense right here for 2, and they hung in this game quite well. Seton Hall and Terry DeHare, you remember that name? Take a look at him coming your way this time. It's a nice move inside. He's got the bucket, but IU has the win. They go to 4-0. They win the NIT. The 4th-ranked Hoosiers, 78 to 74. Good news to start the season. Now, it was more than just the beginning of a season out at USI tonight. It was the beginning of an era. After much anticipation, Bruce Pearl, a longtime Division I assistant, stepped out to the front of the bench. His task? Putting a little bit of a spark back in the Screaming Eagles after a little bit of a down season. And believe me, folks, this guy has some energy. This is the Kenny Kent Toyota Classic they're playing in, and the first points of the year go to the big guy, 6'10", Chris Bowles, off the glass. Did I mention that Bruce has a lot of energy? My goodness, this guy is prowling the sidelines all game long. Tech was tough early in this one. Indiana Tech we're talking about. Kerry Coyne high off the glass, but on this end, Craig Martin finds the open spot and hits it. Bruce told us earlier this year, we're going to get the ball up the floor in a hurry. Watch this. You can't do it a heck of a lot quicker. Bowles to Martin with a lay-in off the glass. And it was the good guys by 3 early in the game. Then watch this. Off the miss, Tyrone Tate can't make it go down. Neither can Neil Coyne. Sean Aldridge, the freshman, can off the glass. 116 to 79 is your final. The good guys win it. USI will meet Union University in the championship game. That will be Saturday at 7:30. So they're off to a good start in the Pearl era. We've still got a few days to wait for the Aces opener, but today Jim Crews held a walkthrough practice gearing up for Missouri-Rolla. Now, you might think Evansville would use an opener against a Division II team to kind of take a look at some of the up-and-coming talent. Guys like Reed Jackson and Andy Elkins will compete for a little bit more playing time as sophomores this year. But Crews said today, you won't see a lot of tinkering once game time rolls around.
Well, practice is the time that players deserve playing time. That's where they earn it, in practice. I don't believe in giving someone a chance to play in game to see how he's playing the game if he hadn't played very well or undeserving in practice. I think that's senseless. So we go full board as soon as we start playing. We're going all out.
And we're all looking forward to it around here. Tuesday night, Missouri-Rolla. Now, play of the day comes from college football. Texas and Texas A&M renewed their annual rivalry yesterday. And while A&M got the better of the Longhorns, Texas did pull off a tricky one. I like this play. If you're going to, do something a little bit unusual, why not when you're behind? Right here, you've got Pete Gardier, throws it to Derek Duke, back to Pete Gardier, the quarterback, and he directs traffic and goes into the end zone. He took a pretty mighty lift. Watch it one more time in slow motion. Watch Derek Duke. Now you know why this guy's not the quarterback. Kind of a wobbly throw back to Gardier, and he says, hey, block that guy. And he goes in. Watch the lick he takes. Ouch! But A&M wins this one, 34-14 yesterday. That's a great rivalry. You know how this is the best tradition in sports. At Texas A&M home games, you know what you do if you're in the crowd after Texas A&M scores a touchdown?
Have no idea.
You kiss your date.
Really?
Yeah, that's a Texas A&M tradition. And a darn good one. If I had gone to Texas A&M, I'd have made sure I had a date every
And if you don't
Saturday.
have a date, what? The person next to you?
I suppose. Just find a good seat then.
All right, thanks, Kurt.
All right.
When we return, Fox 44 meteorologist Jody Salem has an updated look at your weather, and we'll take a second look at some of the top stories of the day. Stores opened their doors early this morning on this, the busiest shopping day of the year. In fact, many of you were out before the sun was even up. As the Commerce Department reported that personal income and spending rose last month, retailers are hoping that holds true. Evansville shoppers say they'll spend at least the same as they did last Christmas, and many say they will be spending even more. Ku Klux Klan members will take to the streets in Central City, Kentucky tomorrow for what they're calling a holiday parade and protest rally, all wrapped up into one. However, the Grand Wizard of the National Knights of the KKK, Tom Robb, is questioning tomorrow's planned demonstration. Robb says tomorrow's parade in Central City does not represent the National Klan. Federal officials say repeated attacks on UN supply ships and the grim prediction that more than 1 million Somali might soon starve has persuaded the Bush administration to use military intervention in the African nation of Somalia. Officials say no decision has been made on whether to send the troops, but as many as 30,000 American soldiers could soon be on their way. And Jody Salem joins us now to take a quick look at the weather.
What we're looking at, I guess we'll have one good day out of the weekend. Sunday looks probably better for outdoor activities than tomorrow does. Tomorrow going to be cloudy to start out the day with a flurry around 28 degrees. Tomorrow's wake-up weather going to be very chilly. Then we have gradual clearing for the afternoon with 40 degrees on our high. And then we'll be in the 40s again for Sunday. But the difference is the sun is going to come back, warm us up into right around 50. On Monday, another front goes through and we cool back in the 40s for Tuesday. So not such a bad forecast.
All right. Thanks, Jody. Thank you for being with us tonight. Have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday. Good night.
Watch University of Evansville basketball with Jim Crews Sunday night at 10 exclusively here on Fox 44 WEVV-TV.